we've got this loop at the back end of the suture, and as we're starting a row of suture, we come through the tissue, out and through the loop here, and now we've secured our initial suture without having to make a knot there. There's a little less bulk there, and that helps it to close a little more tightly. There's these barbs along the suture, which you can see, and you can also really feel if you run your finger along it. And those hold very firmly to the tissue we're suturing through, so that as we run a layer of suture, they really hold the tissue very firmly in place. And that gives very nice tissue approximation and holds the incision very nicely together. Working in one of the deeper layers, I start just a little bit up from the end of the incision, take a bite back right to the corner of the incision, and then on the opposite side back to roughly where I started, come through the loop and tighten that, and then just run along the length of the incision to the opposite end, from the opposite corner, one bite back, and then cut the suture off. At the subcuticular layer, starting the same way, from the subcuticular edge close to the incision back to the corner, back out to meet my first bite and through the loop, then run back along the subcuticular layer. When I make my last bite all the way to the vertex of the incision, from there a short bite about half that length back and coming out a little bit deeper on the other side, and then instead of just cutting right there, we take that bite through the opposite side of the incision and coming out the skin there, and that gives a little extra adhesion to hold that last bit of the incision together. We don't pull that too tight because we don't want to pull the incision underneath itself, but just enough to be secure, and then cut at the skin there. It really only took about 5 cases for me to feel fairly comfortable using the V-Loc device. You use it fairly similar to conventional suture. There are some differences in how you start each layer, getting back to the corner and using the loop to anchor the start of each layer. Along the course of running a layer, you have to be fairly careful to evenly match the length of each bite of suture on each side, because the barbs do limit how much you can play around afterward with evening out the bites that you've taken. That takes really a short time to get used to, and as I said, only about 5 cases or so. I'm using V-Loc for pacemaker implants, defibrillator implants, and generator replacements for both pacemakers and defibrillators. I use it for all of my device implants and replacements. I really don't see any reason not to use it. I think it gets better results for every device closure.